short passage. Ephesians chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 19. And to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. That you may fill to the measure of all the fullness of God. Let's pay our attention to Ephesians chapter 1, 2, and 3. After so many months, we have been visiting these three chapters. And I know that in your mind, you must have some idea about these three chapters. And to me, I find out that these three chapters, in a nutshell, is talking about God's grace. Right? It's talking about God's grace. So happened that our church name is Grace Assembly. Grace has a very, very important meaning, right? When we look to Ephesians chapter 1, we see that God wants to bless us with every spiritual blessing in heavens. Over here we see the greatness of our God. We see the marvelous work of God, and we see such a wonderful, loving God. Today I want to share with you 2 points regarding Ephesians chapter 1, 2, and 3. And I believe you follow this series of sermons, you will understand that from the beginning, before the creation of the heavens and the earth, God has chosen us. God has His plan. And to me, I have no surprise when God did that, because I know that God is special. God is supernatural. I cannot understand, I cannot use my human mind to understand what God has done. The first thing that I want to share to you is that God give Himself. That means it is an act. It is an action. It is an action of giving. The meaning of grace is actually an action to give. It's an act to give. Right? From Ephesians chapter 1, 2, and 3, I see that God Himself is grace. God Himself is a God of grace. God Himself that gives, have an action of giving. This is His nature. It is His character. So when we talk about grace, when we mention the name of our church, actually is an act to give. So when we know that this is an act of giving, is our life also reflect God or not? God wants us to live a life that imitates Jesus. What Jesus did, and we want to do. Jesus has shown the way, shown the path that we are able to live a life that according to His way. So His way is to give. Before the foundation, before the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the earth, God was already starting to give. This is His nature. And also that when we look into Ephesians chapter 1, 2, and 3, we are not looking to the receiver. We are not consider human being that receive the grace of God, receive the giving of God. We are not contemplating about human. Ephesians 1, 2, and 3 showing us who our God is. The giver, not the receiver. When we have this thoughts that when we look to Ephesians, we are so thankful to God that He looked upon us worthy. That's why He gave us His riches. No, it's not the way. Ephesians tells us that as we receive what God has given us, the richness, okay, the kindness. And from there we look to God. From there we see the source of the benefits, the source of the riches and kindness that we receive from our God, the Creator. So when we talk about grace, it's not talking about the acts of human being, but it is an act of the Holy One, God Himself. When Jesus came on this earth, God gave His Son. Jesus is God. That means God gave Himself to us. And that is grace. We did not do anything. We did not do anything. So as a Christian, I find that it is so important that we want to differentiate. What is the message that Ephesians tells us? We are no more living a life that is similar to the people in the world. After reading chapter 1, 2, and 3, you will find out that you are so different. You are brought with a price. That is God Himself. He gives. So during our mission emphasis week or during our collection of offering and tithes, let us reflect ourselves whether we have the same image of Jesus or not, the same image of God or not. Right? When we give offering or tithe, God do not see how much that we give. God do not see what we give. God is seeing who we are, who our inner man is. Right? When we give, It doesn't mean that you give a lot, God will be blessed. No, it's not that. But the right thing is, as we give, we know that God is the source of giving. Let us learn from God. We want to give. We want to give sacrificially. We want to give because this is what we have is belong to God. Why you want to fight with God? Why you want to rob God? Because all we have belong to Him. Why you plan how much you have to give? You don't have to plan. You don't have to really look to how much that you want to give. But you have to look to your heart. When it is a time of giving, mission, emphasis, or whatever, weekly collection or monthly tithing, it's natural that flow out from us. Because we are belong to Jesus, we are belong to God. We have the image of God. Whatever Jesus did, we can do. We can do that. We do not have to constantly depend on the pulpit, depend on the pastor to remind us that we have to give. Yes, we have to give, but it is not because of the reminders, not because of what pastor want to do with the collection, with the mission pledge. It is because of who you are. You are a people that give. It is not your nature, you know. It is your nature. You don't have to struggle when you give. God gives us the air. Every morning you don't have to struggle. You don't have to force yourself to pump your heart. If not, you will suffocate, you will die. No, you don't have to, because it is so free. It is by grace of God. God gave His Son to us. It's not because of what we lack. It's because of who He is. Right? Pay our attention to God. Whatever that we think, whatever that we read, let's focus on Jesus. Let's live a life like Jesus. Of course, we are not Jesus. We are not God. But we can live a life according to the Bible. The Bible tells us so. The Bible tells us to love Him. The Bible tells us that we live a life that's similar as Jesus. Apostle Paul also said that. Follow me because I follow Christ. What I did, you do also. So, this is our nature to give, you know. You don't have to struggle to give. Of course, sometimes you ask, Pastor, how much should we give as a Christian? How much? What is the percentage that we give? The Bible also tells us some of this regarding giving. Today we are not sharing about how the Bible teaches how much to give. Maybe next time. It's wonderful as we look to the Word of God. God has instructed us not how much that we give, but this is your nature to give. Okay? So this is, grace is an act of giving. It is not the receiver, it is the giver. We focus on giver. Then another point that I want to share with you is regarding how Jesus or how God gives Himself. He gives Himself by somebody said it's called self-donation. Self-donation. What do you mean by that? Self-donation. Self-donation is to give that you do not want to have anything coming back to you. It's self-donation. So sometimes we donate money. We do not want to, we do not think of anything will come back, any blessing will come back. Because this is God's nature. It is God's nature to give Himself. Right? He gives all. He gives the best. He gives Himself. So, as a Christian, have we really listening to the Word of God? Or are we still resisting the Word of God, resisting how God functions in our lives? We are very, very good in that, you know. Human beings resist a lot. From young, we learn how to resist. You look at a baby when he's hungry, he will cry. He will not resist. He resists not to cry, right? He resists not to cry. He cries. Now from young, a baby learns how to resist. The mother said, not to cry, not to cry. Susu is coming, milk is coming, not to cry, not to cry. But the baby still cries. He resists not to cry. So this is the nature of the fallen nature. Fallen man is like that. So we resist everything come naturally. Knowing that many of these things come naturally is from God. So we learn how to resist. By the time that we come to the church as a Christian, we give the tithes collection is coming, and we will resist. Resist by what? Resist by our intellectual calculative mind. Resist by not to obey 100%. Resist. Sometimes we resist to be ignorant. We resist by acts of ignorance. So human being is so good in that, resisting commands from God, resisting the way a human being should live. What is the way a living person? The natural way for a living person. Naturally, we know that we breathe. Just now we said we breathe. It's natural. Can you resist to breathe or not? Can you afford that